Hey, welcome. Appreciate you being here. I love these episodes. We're doing really well.
Yeah.
We're getting just a flurry of questions. And some of them are kind of funnier than others. Some of them we can't even share on air.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that come in, and some of them are very, very good. So keep on asking us questions. Whenever I see the list of questions, I'm like, oh, that's got to go in our FAQs table, or hey, we should make a calculator for that, or we have a ton of different things that we do along those lines. But one of the questions that we always do get asked quite a bit.
Who should I hire? Where should I hire? What should I do? How should I do it? I'm wearing all the hats. I'm getting exhausted. Who should I hire?
What's the first 5 hires?
What are the first 5 hires?
What are the first 5 hires? Okay, so
go.
Let's start off with like just an investor. He's a operator owner. Okay.
Yep.
So who do we got? Who should he hire first?
Oh my gosh. Sales. Get a customer.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Get a customer. So he's probably owner, operator / salesman / marketing guy. So
processor.
That's the first thing. Exactly. Yeah, you should get a customer. So hey, I have this person, I have this person, I have this person. They said that they would do this amount, this amount, and this amount. And I think that if I put this together, I can fulfill that need. Yeah. So identifying what the customer need is, and then
being more specific, that is, what business are you in? If you're getting into processing, are you a farmer wanting to vertically integrate to process your own stuff and those of your others? Okay. All of a sudden, those other farmers around you, they're your customer. Right? If you're selling bulk, distillate, isolate, broad spectrum, whatever it is, you need to know who are you selling that to.
Right.
This is not an if you build it, they will come mentality. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, you need to have a customer.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So then I got my customers. I know who I'm going to sell to.
Okay.
And I know what I'm going to sell. I'm going to create a company that is going to produce CBD candy.
Candy? No, we don't. CBD is not candy.
CBD candy for adults.
Gummies.
Gummies, yes. Okay. I'm gonna produce CBD gummies.
Okay, thank you.
That are holistic and natural and don't taste very good.
They're not candy.
No, they're not candy. AKA CBD candy. So, okay.
With really
do
pretty
they have
flavors.
Sugar? Do they have sugar in them? Absolutely.
Yes.
So they must be candy. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so there I am. I know what I'm going to produce. Okay, great. So now what do I do next?
Who do I hire?
A lot of people, they'll go out and try to find someone technical.
Yes, they will. I need a better formulation.
Or I need someone to help me get there. Who should I hire? Oftentimes it comes up with a business plan.
Yep.
So they will have a business plan if they're not the investor. They'll say, okay, well, who do I need and who are my first 5 hires? Who is it, right?
Well, who's going to affect the bottom line the most when you offload that? When you hire someone, the hires are always taking that hat off of your plate and giving it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And how does that impact you the most? What is going to take the most time with the least return for you?
Right.
Right?
Right. So where do the accountants fit into this?
Wow. You can outsource. You need an accountant early, and whether that's internally or external, you need an accountant. But you can do, again, now you're giving that hat to kind of a bookkeeper / accountant / quality person, right? That's a typical role of multiplicity.
You need someone who's going to be able to help you with the recipes. You need someone who knows how to put those recipes together. So you got the idea for the gummy. You need someone there who's going to do that.
A formulator?
A formulator, yeah.
A formulator.
Someone who can go into their, kind of a cook, actually, or someone like that who can put things together. They don't have to necessarily have a technical background. They just need to know how to measure things and understand the basics of concentration.
Do they get to wear one of those white hats and talk with a Swedish accent?
Yeah, they can. They can do that. They can do that. Or a French. No, French accent would be much better. Oh, yeah, because we do French gummies here.
French gummies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What flavor are French gummies? Snail? Escargot?
Red wine? I don't know. Red wine sauce? I don't know. Beef bourguignon for the doggies.
Foie gras.
So it's all good.
Yeah, he did say they didn't taste good.
Well, you know, I don't know. I thought it was tasting pretty good.
Well, if you add sugar to anything, it tastes good.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Sugar to beef broth does not taste good. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
Yeah.
And probably escargot, same thing.
Something so work. So you're probably going to need to have someone to do your formulations.
Formulation. So that would be your second hire.
That would be my second hire. What was the first hire? Oh, the sales guy.
Sales.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's because you're a salesperson. First thing, if I was an operator owner, I would first make sure that I had my packaging and my formulations all set. Yeah, that's what I would do.
And see, now that's where we shift, because I would say I would find somebody who wants something, whether that's my brand or others, but I would find somebody who has a problem or find an area that has an opening in the market and fill that. So that to me is sales. That is something, sales and marketing of understanding what I'm going to sell and where, and then making sure that I can build or formulate that product to that.
Right.
So maybe they're tandem. Maybe those are the first two hires.
Yeah.
And it could be you.
They could be you. That's what I was thinking. You know, typically the owner-operators they're the guys who have the idea. Yep. They wouldn't do it just from the standpoint of, hey, we're scientists and we know how to do science, and therefore, you know, we build it and they will come.
Yep. And see,
that works for the National Science Foundation, and it also works for the National Institutes of Health, but it doesn't work in like the real world.
And see, I found that, you know, a lot of you out there and a lot of the people that I know are as owner-operators, they're one of those.
Yeah, they're one of those. Yes,
they're one of those. So if you're a formulator with an idea, with a product, you know, this really cool whiz bang. Yeah. You need sales. You need that's your first hire.
Right.
If you're a sales and entrepreneur and really go out there and then you need a formulator.
Right. Exactly.
Who can build that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I think it's an either way.
So get your formulator together. And then you need to put your business plan together that really says, okay, hey, look, here's my area that I'm going to be in. I'm going to be in a brand, or I'm going to be a brand vertical integrated. Maybe I'm going to buy crude and then process it, or maybe I'm going to make crude and then buy biomass. So I'll have biomass and distillate products, and I'll have wax products and things like that. So you need to decide what's in and what's out. Yep. And then, you know, from the standpoint of your hires, though, having that formulator there is a good idea, because he's the guy who's going to be saying, okay, well, here's all the recipes that I need. We can provide those recipes for you. Yep. So if you have, we have a formulation service. One thing about that would be, you know, when you rely on us, what does that look like? You know, I guess someone would come, you know, typically if they would talk to our sales guys or they would talk to me, we'd say, oh, first question I'd ask is, what's your product? Yeah. How many do you want to make? Yeah. That type of thing, right? And you should have some sort of idea from the customers you talk to, and then what I would immediately say is, you know, hey, we've done these formulas before. Yeah, we know the packaging equipment, and how far upstream do you want to do it? I think it might be good for you to start off at from distillation down. Yeah. And then here's what you're going to need for your batch records. Here's what you're going to need for consulting on your formulations, and here's what you're going to need for, maybe some solvent removal if you're buying crude. Yeah. Then you'll work those numbers up into a business plan. Yep. Some people say, hey, look, I have a lot of biomass already, and so I want to go all the way through.
And when we talk about business plan, what we're really saying, very simply, just cut it down to simple, because some people go, you know, they get paralyzed when you say business plan.
Right. They think about a 30-page written document, right?
What you really need to know is, what am I going to make? Who's going to buy it? For how much? How much is it going to cost me to make this? And how much will somebody pay for it? And hopefully this is more than this, because that's profit. And you want to make sure that you're operating profitably, not negatively.
Right.
Okay. Revenue is irrelevant.
Yes.
In almost 100% of the cases, if you are selling something and losing, if you're bringing in $1 and losing 10 cents, stop doing that.
Right. Yeah. Why don't you just write your customer a check? Yeah. You know, forget about doing anything. Just say, hey, look, I like you so much. I'm not going to do anything. here's $1,000 check. Just take it.
Yeah, here you go.
That's
it.
Yeah, because
Make
you
sure
actually are writing something.
if you're making 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, and a typical in our industry, you want to be making somewhere between 20 and 30%. If you're a dispenser, you're making more. You're thinking you're buying it, and you've got a 50%, 100% markup. Whoa. Mm-hmm. That's really good. Mm-hmm. Well, what else comes out of that? That's just your cost of goods.
Right.
Now you've got your overhead, your labor, your lights, your everything. So you want to know what all of your costs are, and make sure that what you're selling it for is real.
Right.
And there's somebody who's ready to pay that money for that.
Right.
Right. So a business plan is just making sure that your price you're selling it for exceeds your cost.
Yeah, and that data is typically delivered in the form of a pro forma income statement.
Yep, and keep it simple.
And in fact, you can go onto our website and you can go to the automatic pro forma generator. A lot of people have done this. They get the parameters out so they can the inputs for their
spectacular
for their particular thing. So
and
just
I've
go
had
use
people go and take that, run it, and deliver it, and go to their friends and family to raise money for their operation.
Absolutely,
that's all they need.
Yeah. So, I was just this last week I was looking at a company. It's kind of interesting when you talk about profit. Just a sidebar here. This company was in the ancillary business. Okay, kind of like what we are. Mm. $158 million in sales. Wow, that's pretty good. That's really awesome. That's really awesome. Okay, $148 million in COGS, which means cost of goods. Oh. So that's the gross. Wait. Gross margin of $10 million.
Gross margin, not net.
SG&A was minus $80 million. $80 million.
That's what I'm talking about.
So you had
stupid.
The 10 million could not pay for the 80 million, so you had a minus 70
million
bottom line.
That's a loss.
Yeah, and okay.
NOL, net operating loss carry forward, is nice if you've got billions that you need to offset, but most of us don't have that.
Right, and so anyway, I think that's something that you need to think about, and when you do your investing, look, there's fundamental issues with that business. Yep. Not naming the business, but if they can only generate 10 million in gross margin on 158, that's look, guys. Okay, if you're in manufacturing, here's the thing: you got people who are doing fire sales on kilos of material. That's not going to be around for long. Those are people who are going out of business for whatever, and they're just fire selling it off. So there's basically a lowering of the overall cost of crude and things like that.
Sure.
I think it's going to definitely increase when you have actually more people in here who are actually doing it for Okay, so look, at the end of the day, it's really important that when you do your pricing, that you set a margin to the point where you can actually sustain SG&A. Right. So that means your gross margin has to be, 50, 60%.
At least.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's it's
gross
in order
margin.
to have enough money there to pay for sales, administration, marketing, maybe some research.
Those are operating costs. So the difference between your cost of goods and your sales price, that gives you a gross margin. That gross profit margin is really the NOMR, GPM, gross profit margin. And everything that you take out of that for your rent, for your lights, for your labor, for all of that, those are operating costs. And then once you're there, now you have an operating profit.
Right.
Hopefully.
So we're far afield on our top 5 people.
No, but that's actually, I think that's good.
I think it's important.
I think the third one is really that accountant, right?
You think so? I don't know. I wouldn't hire them until the very last.
Okay. But you need, as an owner, you need to be aware of this. You need to know what's going on, and whether you have somebody helping you do this. If you can do it, great. And you should be. If you're getting into business, these are the fundamentals of things you should know when you hang out your shingle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
I'm good with that.
Well, okay. So you need a bookkeeper. right? Yeah, obviously have to have that, right?
Right.
You have to have someone who's doing the transactions, whether you're using QuickBooks, but then at the end of the year or even on a quarterly basis, you need an accountant to take those, take that balance sheet, take the trial balance basically from QuickBooks and produce an income statement for you, right? So that would be something that you need to do.
Yeah, and I think that's good.
You can do that on a yearly basis. People typically do that for tax purposes.
So one of the things that you mentioned is where do you make the most revenue and profit, or profitable revenue? And what we're finding is that the segmentation that's happened in the industry is you've got a farmer, and farmers are struggling because they're not finding where to sell their biomass.
Products. Yeah, they want to produce, and then they're like, oh, hey, I got all this biomass. Where do I sell it?
Where do I sell it? And then you've got processors who are looking to buy the biomass or source it or split it or do whatever, and then they're looking for somebody to buy the end product, whether that's distillate,
ingredient,
or whatever, or and the bulk sale of ingredients, or charge the farmer to toll that. Right. Then you have the packagers. Really, it's the brand who wants that product, or that is buying that, and it's the formulator or the brand who needs that done, and then they get the packager. So now they're working with a co-packer, right? To buy that, to put it together, and then they put it in something that goes to a distributor,
right? Who then sells to a wholesaler.
Well, sometimes it's a wholesaler, but let's just go right to the retailer. Let's go right to the retailer, whether that's a convenience store or a mom and pop dispensary, whatever. But that is the line, right? And then you have the ancillary guys, the accountants and the marketing groups and the consultants and brokers and everything all on the. But I'm finding that there are more people, like farmers, are vertically integrating into that next step. I'm finding that where you're making more money is when you're biting off two segments, not just trying to be in one.
Right.
And in fact, in the extraction, you've got not only the processing side of it, but now you've got extraction, pre-processing, extraction, and post-processing.
Right.
And I'm finding there's a lot of people who right now who are getting into the post-processing because farmers and other people are taking it to winterize crude.
Right, and then they're like, okay, I need it to a point where the formulator can actually use it, so I'm going to bring it into a distillate or an isolate. So then they're paying all that money for that. They might as well go ahead and
so they're
buy the equipment for that. Yeah,
but or I've got people who are just buying, whether it's the winterization or the distillation and isolate side of it. So now they're doing all of that post processing as a separate business. Which is very interesting to me.
Yeah.
And then they're going into doing their own packaging. So there are real cool refined segments. So who would be your third hire?
Well, so I would have, so you'd have your owner operator, and then you'd have, what was my second one?
Formulator.
Formulator, yeah. Okay. And so the reason I do the formulator is to meet the end user need, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then I would go ahead and get an operator, to operate my equipment if I was going to get the equipment, depending on my business model and how I wanted to do it. But I was going to have some sort of operations.
Sure.
You're going to want to have someone there who can. What are you looking for? You're looking for someone who's organized.
Yes.
Who's effective.
Yes.
Okay. If you don't have an effective person in that operations, kind of management role, they're not going to get effective people around them.
Correct.
You can always tell if there's a lot of spinning wheels, a lot of smoke, a lot of dirt going up in the air, but not a lot of action. That's you probably have the wrong operations crew. Okay, so
I'm thinking of throwing the ball for my dog. when the ball goes past her, she stops and there's just dirt flying everywhere. It's just kind of.
What about you? Who would you hire for the third one?
No, I agree. I had the operator as the third as well.
I mean, you could get some guy. Usually, the operator, the guy who's going to run the machines, is not going to be someone who can run your crew. Okay,
correct.
So maybe you want to start off with just the operator. Since you're the operator owner, you're going to want to, you would basically be the first guy to, kind of be the operations guy.
Right.
You'd want to know everything that's going on.
But you're training that person.
You're training that person in, saying, hey, here's what it has to do.
Yep.
Here's all your SOPs. And by the way, we would help you with that training. We would help you with that knowledge. We would help you with all of that.
Whenever we do installation on site, you go through a site acceptance test and you see everything, and we work with you on how it's installed, how everything connects, everything. Right. You mentioned, on one of our other podcasts, the tear down, everything going back and forth. But you go through that, and then there's a whole training that we do with the owner operator and the operator itself, the person who's going to actually run the machine.
So one thing we do is, like, we always try to not train the owner of the machine, because what they end up doing is then trying to train their guy, and then usually
it's got to be both.
It's got to be both, yeah. So that's really helpful. I mean, because we have certain training protocol. A lot of things are missed in that case. We want to make sure that remember, the owner operator is trying to do accounting. He's trying to do sales. He's trying to do operations. He's trying to do all those things. So he's really not there to really run the machine. You're going to need to have someone to do that. Okay. So so I would kind of get either one or more operators, and these are all basically $15 to $20 an hour type of positions. Okay, someone who's gonna, get in there, roll up his sleeves, run and own the equipment, make sure things are clean, deliver, package up along with the formulator. And the formulator is going to take the stuff that the operator from the operations gives them. They're going to formulate them up, package them up. They're probably going to be working together really well, and then ship it out. So,
and I would say the only thing I would challenge on that is I think that first operator that you hire is not the 15 to 20. It's more the probably 18 or 20 to 25, 23, 25. I think you want a better caliber of person, because that's the person you're going to be handing that off to, and you need to trust them.
I could see that. Yeah, I think that's a good thought. Someone who's willing to really step up to the plate, basically.
Take some ownership of the machine,
right?
And someone who could train somebody down the road,
right?
As you grow and scale.
Right. Yeah. And it is probably a different type of person, maybe two different people there. But if you keep it, if you keep the operation cost low at the very beginning, that's what I was kind of thinking.
I understand that.
But I understand that too. I mean, it's, you're always going to be a trade-off. It's probably very likely you as an owner operator are going to go through 3 or 4 of those people before you find someone who's going to be there. Yep. First of all, there's the whole issue of showing up to work. Okay. People just, I don't know why, for whatever reason, they get a job and they don't want to show up to work. They want to take time off. First thing they ask you. Look, if they're asking you for 3 weeks of vacation on day 2, you can't, you just get rid of them right at the very beginning. If they've had 7 jobs in the last 7 years, you probably don't want to put a lot of time into them.
Because you're just number 8.
Exactly. If they've had 5 jobs or 4 jobs in the last 4 years, so this is something that I really look for when I'm trying to hire somebody, especially, someone who's even a technician. Like, okay, I'm a technician. I want to, okay, that's great. I still am going to put a lot of time and money into training you.
And you're going to be putting a lot of money and time into all of these people as you go. So choose wisely.
Yeah. And if they're off, every year with a new job, I mean, that's
not worth
all your time and all your effort is just going to walk out the door when somebody offers them another 25 cents an hour in raise. That's what's going to happen. So forget about that.
They're mercenaries. You don't want a mercenary.
Yeah, try someone who's very interested in the job, that's there for the reason of, pushing the company forward, and then reward them when you meet your objectives. Reward them with whatever. What do you like to do? You know
Absolutely.
What I mean? So
okay.
Yeah. So I put the operator as the number 3, and
what about number 4?
Well, I think that's where really when you want to start talking about that operations management, but you really need to have the quality side of it.
That's what I had. Yeah, quality and logistics.
Okay. Yeah, because that's when shipping, it's just starts to get, kind of overwhelming, and you need to have someone out there, kind of making sure that all the packaging is here, that's all checked in, that it's all, that the boxes are, and actually the shipments are being made.
Yes.
And then, from the standpoint of, just the...
And getting them tested. So I think quality and logistics, that's why I think that can be a shared hat for the moment,
I think
at least initially, because you want to bring biomass in, you want to quarantine it, you want to test it, you want to know that they're testing it properly, and you got to weigh it, you got to get it into your system, you need to start barcoding and making sure that it's going through your system.
A lot of the states are requiring, traceability. So
chain of custody.
So you want to go ahead and do that. And, like with the IGW software, it's really, helpful for the person because it's a software. They just basically, they'd learn the software.
Yep.
So, and then they could run that. They could do, basic inventory, basic shipping out of there. So that's kind of the quality side of it. You don't have to be an analytical chemist or something like that to be a quality person. But keep in mind.
Thank you. He said, did you hear that? He said, you don't have to be an analytical chemist to be a quality person. I really appreciate
a quality assurance person.
Okay.
But it helps.
I thank you for being inclusive.
We have yes. So
I do matter.
Yes, you do matter. You do matter occasionally.
Just not right now. Okay, so and then number 5 was the accountant.
Well, yeah, I would say put in the business operation and then after and oftentimes the batch records and the shipping and all that operation stuff is, if you have a good business person there, they would typically take that.
I agree.
And then release the owner operator to go out and sell.
Bingo.
Which is really what you need to do. The owner operator, I'm talking about a small operation, they're the ones who've got to be doing the selling.
So assuming that the owner operator is really the key sales guy, number 1 sales guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the first hire is the formulator.
Yeah.
Right. And the second is going to be so you've got the formulator.
Yep.
Or sales.
Yep.
Okay. Depending on which you are. Then you've got the operator.
Or operator, manager, operator, supervisor, whatever. Yeah,
for the
whatever
equipment.
you can get.
I'm talking about for the equipment.
Yeah, for the equipment, but not only the equipment, but the operations, the different SOPs, running the SOPs.
Running SOPs. And then you've got quality.
Yeah.
And logistics.
Yeah.
And then business operations.
Right, business
accounting.
operations.
Yep.
So in a small company like that, you're going to be wearing multiple hats. Just make sure that you...
As will all of these.
Yeah. So, make sure you find people who are going to be flexible and, hey, could you do that? Oh, yeah, I can do that,
Yep. You want people who lean in. Say, okay, we'll get it done. We'll lock, elbows and let's
You don't want to say, you don't want to have someone say, that's not my job.
Yeah.
Okay, if you got that person, you should probably get rid of them immediately.
Yeah.
Because in a small company, you wear a lot of hats. So I don't really do that, or I don't do this, or I don't do that. Forget about it. Just forget about it. No,
it's 4:20. It's time to light up and go home.
Oh, that's also another issue. So we have so policies.
That's a whole different episode of who not to hire.
Right. So somebody had asked me recently, so do you have a drug policy at your company? I'm like, okay. Well, look, since people take, full spectrum, we don't really test. We don't do that. But for cocaine and meth, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's a teeth test? Is that
Smile. Yep, you look okay.
Okay, you're in.
That's good. So that's essentially what we consider to be the top 5 guys.
Top 5 hires. This was a good episode.
Yeah, it was kind of we did a good job. We got we talked about some of the major things that happen in when you're starting up. You can see how it is complicated for someone starting up. They're like, okay, I got something. I want to make it happen. Who do I hire? And boy, it really is a whole lot of trade-offs that you're going to.
It really is, and it really depends on where your strengths are and where you want to head. But you've got to wear all of these hats until you hire somebody to hand that hat to.
Right.
So it's got to happen when you're running a business. That's what it is.
Yeah, that is the realities of small business, and as your business gets bigger and bigger, you need to have people who will do 1 or 2 things, and do those very well. So, that's
focus on profit.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Hey, this was a good episode.
Thank you so much.
Top 5 hires.
Take care.
We got you. Thank you.
See ya.
Are you stuck in your hemp or cannabis business? Are you not reaching your processing goals? Here at extraktLAB, we offer a free 20-minute CBD jam session. A CBD jam session is a conversation with an industry expert, not a sales call. A conversation where you can talk to us about whatever issues you are having right now and where you are stuck. We will help you uncover any issues you are currently having in your business, create a solution to fit your current scale, develop a future scale-up plan based on your needs, and help you make your processing goals a reality. all while getting your business plan back on track. Schedule your free 20-minute CBD jam session at 1-651-600-0036. Again, that number is 1-651-600-0036.